What's up, guys? We got Anzo in the building with me, Brandman, Spoiler Kings, doing this great Welcome to Derry episode review. We just got episode 6 come out. Dude, I don't know what you guys thought about it, but it was a lot of great things, a lot of creepy things in this episode that made me want to walk away, because you guys know I don't like scary things. But I think it was done so well. I really enjoyed it. What were your guys' initial thoughts about this episode? Let's start with Anzo and then move to Brandman.
I thought this episode was great. I really did enjoy it as well. I'm with Tamika, though. There are some things that kind of stressed me out in it, but it was like we got an exposition dump and we got to learn a lot. And I really enjoyed the stuff that we learned. And I want to know more, because they still left some stuff on the back burner that they can explain to us. And I can't wait to see that. So overall, episode was great. I loved it. Can't complain one bit.
Okay. What about you, B?
This show has no chill. None. But I like how they're diving more into the mythos and the history of Pennywise and Bob Gray. That's really cool. Bill Skarsgård is just so good. Just with a lot of his what he does with the role from a physical standpoint. His delivery, such a good actor. Not always in the best stuff, but this he like really shines. I don't think this would have worked, and just the build up and the payoff and reveal of Pennywise himself from last week's episode into this one, absolutely incredible. That's working for me very, very well, and the way that they're going with the kids. We're getting character development from Marge.
Did you hate Marge less? Am I the only one who hated Marge less? Like, I was like,
after this episode, man, I was like, oh, maybe she's not so bad after all.
Yeah.
You asked me all the time about redemption. I was like, maybe you can be redeemed.
100%.
And I like I liked the balance of this episode of like the intense parts with some of the more lighthearted things with the kids kind of becoming more tightly knit. Which I'm trying not to get too attached, because this is Stephen King's story. They never end well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just not even the threat of Pennywise, but racism, segregation back in that time, the way that it ended kind of had me like, oh crap.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to see what happens next week.
Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, good episode. It's amping up its game with each episode. I honestly, dare I say, I almost like each episode more than I did the last.
Okay.
I could feel that.
I had some real issues with this episode with some of the characters. I love the way the episode went. There's some of these characters that I want to just like if you couldn't be my wife, straight up, you couldn't be my wife, or you couldn't be my daughter, you couldn't be doing. There's certain characters that I just look at, like, man, you couldn't. No, what are you doing? But that's a horror movie trope, right? You're looking at them like, why are you doing this? And this episode had at least 4 or 5 times where I'm like, what the hell? What the hell are you doing when I'm looking at these characters? So all right. That's what we think about overall. Let me know what you guys liked about this episode. Go ahead, Anzo.
Oh man, I love the backstory, right? I also loved being right, because I did say that she was pulling the okie doke, right? I just had a feeling, because when you do these tropes, right, where she seems like she's nice, I'm like, nah, there's something wrong with that. So I like that. I loved how they connected her and the back in was it 08, when she was young, or 32, or was it 30, one of those days where she was
27.
I think it was in the 30s, right? I think it was
it's in the 30s. It's during the Great Depression.
Yeah, right. 1930, something like that, where she was younger. We get to see her being that little nurse and understanding what's going on. And I think we'll get a flashback, but not too much story about what happened in 1908 with her father, because I think next season is going to be that 1908 season, right? So every time, or no, next season should be 32, and then the season after that should be '08. So I think they want to keep something secret for that. But man, I love what they're doing with the Skarsgård. Like you said, he is absolutely great as Pennywise. And when I was reading about it, they were saying like they weren't sure if he was really into being Pennywise when they first started it. That's why he came in late, because after the writer's strike, he was all in. And I'm just like, this show would have not been the same without him. You know what I mean? Like, you had that build up to him coming in, and then when he comes in, he just kills it in everything he does. I love the way he portrays the clown, and then we get to see that little pop up where he's in a different form. Don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but I loved it. I thought they did a great job. Really good. I love the way they're connecting the story with The Shining, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get connections to other Stephen King books and stuff like that. So
it's going to be a
the
Dark
Tower.
Tower.
Yeah, I agree. I think so too. Think so too. So I really enjoy what they're doing with the show. I think it's great.
All right, B, what's your likes?
This particular episode, really liked the way that it started with Pennywise. Just Bill Skarsgård, again, I can't give him enough flowers. Just, he was absolutely killing it. I liked that it set the tone for the rest of the episode. And parts of this were almost like a Pennywise deep dive.
Yeah.
Which was really cool with the character.
Understand the lore, who the character is.
The lore, yeah,
the combinations
exactly.
Who
the character is. I think at this point, because what was this, like episode number 6, I believe?
6, yes.
Yeah.
So it felt appropriate. This was a good time for that. I liked I like the plight of the kids. I thought there were a lot of really emotional moments in this one, particularly Ronnie being reunited with her father. That was great. Very well acted as well. I liked that. I like the lighthearted moments because I think you kind of need that levity given the situation. Even though something sinister is literally around the corner. Not just with Pennywise, but we all saw what happened at the very end of the episode. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out next week.
That's gonna be hard to watch, though.
I know, it's like trying to watch Rosewood. Like, you can't watch Rosewood.
That is gonna be hard to watch, man.
Come out to watch Rosewood, you mad at everybody. All right, you all.
Another thing that I liked too was I loved when Pennywise first came up and he was going after the little girl, and she was like, "Papa." And then he stopped and gave that little look. Like, his acting as Pennywise is just so great, because you could see, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I remember you. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, so I think he's doing a great job, man. I love those little scenes.
Okay. My likes going to be real simple. I think Dick Halloran, Chris Chalk is doing a great job with them. I just, in that, he will be like I am. Like, if I got to deal with this, I'm drinking every second of the day. All the time, to be able to deal with all the stuff that I'm seeing. He's seeing dead people. He doesn't talk to them, because if you interact with them, it felt very just like comic booky, very comic book. Like, you start talking to a lot of these dead people. Now you're interacting with. Now you're involved in their lives or their afterlives, and they'll never stop. And you always be hearing their voices. I thought that's really interesting with all that dump. I thought probably the most evil person in this entire show is the officer Clint Bowers. Most evil dude in the entire show. Easily. What Ingrid did was fire. Like, that Madeline Stowe just did an unbelievable job with her acting. I enjoyed everything I did, and I don't hate Marge anymore, guys. Those are my biggest things. Like, I don't hate Marge anymore. And I give Leroy leeway.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I think everyone's jumping down this throat like, oh, I can't believe it did this. I can't believe it. I'm giving Leroy a little leeway. That's it for me.
This in lies where my couple of my negatives are. But go ahead.
No, this is perfect time. Then go ahead. You start with your negatives.
So okay, so the one thing I had an issue with is this is yeah, you're right. I would move out for a day. Damn right. That's no doubt. But the one thing we got to remember that this is 1962 or whatever, right? Kids didn't talk back to their parents like that.
The silent generation?
Yeah, they did not do that, right? So I think they're kind of like mixing this generation with that kind of stuff, and I didn't like that part. And then we get to the black spot, and the kids are just walking around like nothing. You know what I mean? Not to mention the fact that they're just running back and forth, and they know what they're hiding in there, right? Then you have Ronnie, who the father should have been like, okay, you see me, I'm here, I'm safe. Now you gotta leave and act like you've never seen me. He kept her there. You know what? I didn't like that. And then,
fire.
Huh?
That's exactly right.
And then,
go ahead, cook.
They ask Ronnie if he's a drummer. I'm like, what? You know, black parents ain't doing that. These kids would have been like, hey, keep your nose out of big man business, all right? There was none of that happening. They would have never asked this kid to come and be a drummer. Now, I get it. You do that because you want to have these emotional moments and stuff like that. But that stuff to me was just like, this is not real. Like the generation that they're doing, the timeline that they're doing, none of that stuff happens. Those kids would have never even have been allowed in that spot. So that's my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. B, what negatives you got?
I feel like the Will talking back to his father just kind of seemed almost kind of tropey
for this generation. For like kids nowadays, when would that ever happen?
Facts.
Yeah. What else? I think there were parts that kind of dragged, like the reveal with
Ingrid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And why am I drawing a blank on the little girl's name?
Lily.
Yeah. Yeah. That scene kind of dragged for me. Like that, they could have trimmed that a little bit, and it would have had probably a same, if not better, impact. Those were really my only two. And I think certain parts with the whole Dick Halloran storyline subplot also kind of drags for me at times. They can move a little quicker with it, I think him kind of like staring ominously is kind of losing a little bit of its luster for me. Those are really my only three.
Okay. So it's a crazy story about my mom back in the day where everyone black and white hanging out, and then the white people would be were in the Klan. That was in the 50s and early 60s in North Carolina. All right. My negatives are as such. I think Leroy should never. You don't slap your son after you almost shot him. Like you're so you're blaming yourself for doing something stupid because he is there to be. He did something stupid, right? But you almost shot him, and you slapping him for that at that point. I probably wouldn't have went that route. Okay. Number two, Charlotte is a terrible mother. Charlotte is a terrible, terrible ass mother. Wait a minute. So you know what's going on in that town? And you letting your son go out and be with his damn friends? What is wrong with you?
Yes.
Like, oh no, he's probably out with his friends. What are we doing? She should have grabbed her son and drove on back up to Atlanta. That should have happened immediately. Not letting him go with his friends because what he wants matters. No, him being alive matters. So what the hell are we doing with her? Charlotte, you're terrible. That makes no sense at all. And it's not a black mother that was a mother in the 50s that let that happen. It's not a black mother that would let that happen in the 80s. So I don't know how that happened in the 50s or 60s. That made no sense. Not even a little bit. If you didn't know Clint Bowers was going to be the guy who led the KKK, come on, I saw that coming a long way out. I saw it. 100% saw that coming. But Hank being in that club and letting his daughter stay, and then letting other kids be 100%. In there. What kind of father are you?
Facts.
What kind of black club you think has kids there?
Facts.
Yeah.
Wait, not just a kid, a Puerto Rican and a white kid too.
Facts.
What we doing?
No one said, "Hey, where's your mama?" Nothing. No one asked.
No one said, "Hey, look, that's a Puerto Rican and a white kid. Why are we here in this black club with all these grown black people doing grown stuff? What are we doing?
Walking around watching us. You know what I mean?
You don't even notice these kids? Like, how dare? And then they gave them rum and coke.
Facts. I forgot about that. Facts.
What are we doing?
Yeah, that pissed me off.
I've never seen anything that stupid. And then now Hank is putting all his daughter in trouble or at risk, and then with the rest of these kids being at risk, and then you gonna let this kid play the drums in a club? Bro. Okay, that's made no sense to me at all. Okay, same. Now we can talk about Lily going to go visit Ingrid when she has these problems. You don't know this lady,
and walking into her house, right?
And walking up to the attic
and looking through her stuff. Really?
What are we doing? Huh? And then seeing the clown stuff and not booking it out there, right? Want to have a conversation with her?
Facts, bro. Facts.
Dude, come on, man. That's some stupid stuff. Like there are things where I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. No kid would do this. So how do we get there? I don't know how we got to that point. So I mean, I'm looking at these things and I'm watching the show and I'm enjoying the show, right? But there's no way in the black club you're gonna see a little 8-year-old Rich come in playing the drums. That's not happening. That's not happening. You're not going to see Lily walking in some grown person's house in the 50s and seeing a clown uniform and not running out. We're not doing it. This stuff doesn't make sense. And where the hell are these parents of these kids just all over the damn place?
100%.
Like,
100%.
Come on, man. Come on.
They got to remember what time period they're capturing here, right? Kids were not like that back then. It was like, yes, sir, no, ma'am, thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, right? That's the kind of the way the kids were back in those days. So it's easy to look at kids this generation and be like, oh, yeah, they're disrespectful and all of that. But when you're doing that type of time period, you can't have these kids acting that way because they just didn't do it. And then the parents were acting stupid as well too. You know what I mean? Like it just, I love the show. There was just those little things in there that were just like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Making sense. Like, this is not the time period because everything else feels very authentic to the time period.
Yes,
right?
yes.
The racial tension feels very authentic to the time period.
Yes.
Even the end of the episode when you see the mob with them covering their faces, right, coming out there to do these things. It's authentic to the time period. It makes a lot of sense. But these things in between, no, we're not. This is not the 2020s. Like I don't understand how we got to beta and generation and along with the silent generation. Facts. What are we doing? No, that doesn't make sense. So I thought that it has some realistic stuff and it has some very unrealistic stuff. So
agreed. I agree.
Okay, so overall, what grade did you give this episode?
I still give it an A+. Still a great episode. I'm still giving it an A+. Right? Listen, you guys know me. There's certain things where I'm like, nah, this ruins the whole show. That didn't ruin the whole show for me. I'm sorry. I like the show way too much. I'll give it a pass for that stupid stuff. But I love it, so it's still an A+ for me. Still an A+.
Dude, I wish Anza was my teacher because I'll have like 17 out of 20 wrong, and he was like A+. because you understood to get the gist.
Yeah, you got it right. You know what it was doing. You just calculation
you
wrong,
know.
but you're good.
Yeah, we good. All right, B, what do you give this episode?
This is a solid A for me.
Okay,
Really
I
enjoyed this
definitely
episode.
respect that. I definitely respect
You know,
that.
my gripes with it were very minimal. You know, not a perfect episode, but you know, and very seldom is anything perfect, but I really, really enjoyed it.
I respect that. I give it a B plus because I thought some of this stuff was just not realistic. And I was so mad with certain things. Certain aspects just didn't make sense to me. You know,
Agreed.
What I know about because this would be what I mean dealing with my grandmother. My grandmother was born in 1939, right? So she'll be 14, 15 years old during this time, right? So like there's no way in hell. That's how these things are. So like it's a B plus because I just don't agree with the sin because they've done such a great job. And it's because they've done a good job with other things that I'm saying I don't like this because of this, you know, because you know you're the problem is your own success. You know, you've done such a great job that I'm saying this doesn't make any sense. So now you get a B plus. I mean, still get an A for everything else is doing. So whatever.
The family aspect and everything, it's great. It's just good. It's just that, you know, this was the one thing where I was watching, like, I'm like, no, that's not happening, guys. That you need to get some black writers up in there to let you guys know. I'm like, hey, no, black people ain't doing that. They're back in those days. There's no kids hanging around with black adults. It's just not happening. You know what I mean?
Days, baby. Have you ever been around? Hey, look, and not everyone here is black, so that's what I say. I will tell you this. All right, growing up, if there was grown people talking and I said too many things, I had a couple of words I could say every so often. When I started getting into this conversation, there's a slap coming for me. Stay out of grown people's business.
And sometimes you just needed to get the look. You know what I mean?
You be on the phone, your mother on the phone, she look at you like,
yeah. Don't even say a word. Yeah.
So you telling me these kids in the 50s are going to be in a club?
Yeah.
With racial tension in the town?
At nighttime, right? Because when the cloud comes, it's night. Like these kids are out. Wait, what? You know? Yeah, no.
All right, let's look at you guys' comments that we haven't looked at yet. So Charlotte had should have slapped Leroy. Not during the 50s.
Yeah, for real.
Not during the 50s. This is not what we just do. It's just not what would have happened.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But her leaving, 100%, I can see her packing her bags and just picking up and going and saying, you know what? Because you don't do that. What are you doing? You don't do that to my son. You're not teaching him how to be a good man. You're not respecting me. No matter what. And you brought us to this town. She should have packed her bags and left.
And Maria, I get what you're saying.
She's a wonderful mother, strong one. She's a terrible mother. She's a terrible mother.
I get what you're saying.
I'm not a Charlotte fan.
When she picked him up on the street, that conversation is a lot different in real life, right? Because that car doesn't just slow down. You hear, and then a bunch of curse words get in the car, right? That's
you're letting your son. She knows what's going on in Derry. She's still letting him ride his bike around with his friend. That's a terrible mother. What are you doing? No.
We ain't doing that.
I was shook it up. The town that influenced on Charlotte. Okay. I would shock it up to the towns, chuck it up to the towns influence of Charlotte. But Charlotte was always that way, right? Because Charlotte was pushing the envelope, even in Atlanta, doing her, civil rights movement, which is a great thing to do. It's just hard to do when you have a 10-year-old son.
And I get what you're saying, because they do say that even what happened to Leroy when he slapped Will is because of things that are going on in the town. So I get that the town is starting to rub off on them, but not enough to where they're doing these stupid mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
You care about your son, you should be caring about your son. This should be what it is. Tamika says, I didn't understand why Charlotte didn't leave immediately and why Hank didn't get his mom and daughter and leave.
Facts.
You could the mom and daughter could just start driving off. and met him somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. You care about your family. You say, okay, listen, you guys need to get out of Derry, right? And if I can't leave and I got, obligations to the army or whatever, you guys get out of Derry. I'll meet you there in a bit. Simple and plain.
Hank thought that the people were going to come and get him, and he was going to be able to get out. So I think that's what it was. Rubber Coke is my drink. Apparently, it was also the kids' drink. Man, this Coke tastes a little different. What?
Oh my gosh,
man, it's crazy. Still all up in her house. Yes, 100%. It was crazy. Man, it was funny. And Maria says it's Hollywood. I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Man.
we know. You got to do. We know. I'm just saying, though. You were doing a perfect job with portrayals and all kinds of stuff, and then you went and did some. Like, you could have done it in so different of a way. It just, you know what I mean? They're like, nah. Yeah, I don't get it.
I agree. Pennywise is making them act like that. Look, I as much as the reason I give it B+ because the scenes we got with Pennywise were creepy. The red balloon was outstanding. The black and white scenes with a red balloon coming in was unbelievable. Fire. Oh my!
That was awesome.
It was awesome.
That was so dope.
Dude, when Ingrid closed the door and the little girl's little baby on the door, and you see him just come up and he's about to eat. Oh my God.
Yeah.
See the blood, and then when she knows it's her dad, she steps right in the middle of the blood. You know she is certified. Yeah. She needs to be in that crazy place.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But that was just so well done though. So the nurse is the kid of Pennywise. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Fernando gives it an A+. Maria gives it an A. So when the grown-ups had a party, and the kids had to go in the back room.
100%. 100%.
So I wish I got a slap. I always got the leather belt.
Facts.
Hey, back in that time, they would say, "Hey, go get a switch."
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Get a switch. You got the belt. 100%. So I agree.
Get your black ass in the car.
100%.
She could have kept on driving and just kept on moving.
Yes. Facts.
All right. Well, that is our ideas and our episode recap of episode 6 of Welcome to Derry. It was so good. We had some issues with it, but overall, man, this is the best portrayal from it to a TV show, from a movie to a TV show that I've ever seen.
Agreed.
Have you seen anything different, better than this?
Not so far.
Me neither.
Dude, tell me, guys, if you guys are watching this later and you could think of something that actually portrays a movie better than this, let me know what it is, because I have no idea. But if you watch this a little bit later, hit this like button, hit the subscribe button, because we're going to be here doing this stuff every week, making these shows, talk about all this stuff, making these recaps, and give you guys all instances that you need to be looking at and telling you how fire this show is. So make sure you let us know, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.